So I'm here to help you guys out with different subjects when it comes to lashing. So we're two sisters here. My name is Galina and there's also Jana, and we're often giving you guys really helpful content, hopefully, and helping you guys out as much as we possibly can. So today's subject we're going to be talking about is actually going to be gel patches. So I know that this is a subject you guys love because every time we post a video on Instagram about patches, there's always so many questions and so many comments, and it's just a subject that is really not really talked about as much, and it seems like it's easy, but it's actually not. So this is why we made this video for you guys, to clarify about different patches that exist and give you guys some tips on what you can do to work with them. So the first patches that we're actually going to be discussing are going to be the regular hydrogel patches. So what are the benefits of working with just the regular under eye patches? They're also the hydrogel. That's the substance that is in the patches. So the benefit is actually that they are really easy to work with. They're really thin, so it's going to be very easy to access the inner corners for your clients, and they're just going to be usually pretty comfortable for your clients. So now the downside of these general hydrogel patches is the fact that they're only good for clients that have a really regular standard eye shape, and for anything a little bit more complicated, like eye shapes that are not as standard, a little bit that deviate from the norm, they're not going to work as well. And so the other issue comes in is that for clients that have pretty coarse lower lashes, these eye patches will kind of move, and they're not going to stay in place as well as other types of patches. So now, so those were the benefits and the negatives. Now we're going to talk about the gel patches. So these gel patches, they're actually the really good aspect about them is that you can actually work with clients that have fairly thick under lashes, and in terms of the shape, they're very versatile as well, but they are not going to be as comfortable necessarily for the client as the hydrogel patches. So what you're going to need to do is adjust them slightly. So you're going to tell your client to open her eyes as you're going to apply the patches underneath her eyes, making sure that you apply and pull on the patches from side to side, stretching it and then adjusting it. You can readjust the patch by moving it to the side. Make sure there's no upper lashes underneath the patches and remove them if need be. And then you can just gently hold the inner corner of the patches and then readjust them lightly. And sometimes you may even need to put a little bit of tape on the side of the patches, and so to make the client comfortable. So this is really something that you need to keep in mind. But for clients that have very unruly lower lashes, where you have to reapply the patches every 15 to 20 minutes, you should definitely think about trying the gel patches, and that should definitely help you out. Like I said, it's harder to reach the inner corners with those patches. So what you can do is you can adjust them by cutting them out, cutting the shape out to make it to make the shape fit your client, or just have different various shapes on hand available. Most companies now offer various shapes for eye patches. So all you need to do is have various shapes on hand, and then once your client comes in, you easily just pick the shape that works for their particular eye shape. So now we're gonna talk about the biggest mistake. So let's go back. So now the last eye patches that we're going to talk about are actually these micro foam under eye patches. So what's really cool about these is the fact that they are made of micro foam. So these are the thickest patches available on the market. So they're going to be much thicker, and they're going to be like the best ones for clients that have really coarse under lashes. And they're really they're gonna stay in place. They're not gonna move like the hydrogel or even the gel. These are like the strongest ones available. Like these patches are not to be used on each and single client that you guys are going to have. These patches are to be kept on hand for let's say 10 to 15% of clients that you have. They're not for everyone because they're going to be much stronger. They're not going to move at all. And you really need to make sure you apply them properly, because you need to ensure that you're not applying them directly on the lash line, because it's going to make the client cry a little bit more, and it's going to make them teary. So it's important to ensure that you apply them properly, but not only that you apply it on the proper client. If the client has no issues with patches, their eyes are like a regular eye shape, there's no need to use these microfoam patches just for fun. You really want to use them on clients that you have trouble with applying the patches to. And this is actually the other indication for applying these patches is for clients that typically react to the gel patches and that tear quite a lot. And so what happens is that the gel starts to come off, and you need to constantly change the patches throughout the service. So in those cases, you would use the microfoam patches. So for the microfoam patches, you're going to apply them. Keep in mind they are stickier and thicker than regular patches. So you're going to apply them, then readjust lightly, keeping in mind the thickness of these patches. We've gone through the 3 types of patches available. Let's talk about the mistakes that you guys can make as lash artists. Beginner or even advanced mistakes, it doesn't really necessarily matter where you are in your career, but the mistakes can be first of all, one of the biggest mistakes would be putting the patches too high so that they touch the conjunctiva. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, the conjunctiva. So you still need to be able to see the growth of the client's lashes. You want to make sure that you're not putting the patches too high. But similarly, you also want to make sure that you're not putting the patches too low, because if you're putting them too low, you're going to have the issue of lower lashes popping out, and you need to constantly readjust the patches to avoid gluing the upper lashes to the lower lashes. So you really want them very well isolated, the lower lashes, obviously I'm talking about. So that's one of the biggest mistakes. You really want to make sure that your patch is not too high on the conjunctiva. So the other mistake is to apply the patches in the beginning of the service and then think that that's it, your job is done with the patches, you can forget all about it. No, you need to check them every 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the client, depending on if they're talking, because if they're talking, their face is moving and the patches are going to be moving, and so what's going to happen is you may need to change them more frequently.